Hey, this is Pastor Larry with your daily dose, and I want to share a few thoughts from Psalm 73. It's one of my favorite Psalms. I know it's also one of Chris Brown's favorite Psalms. If you've ever been in that situation where you're looking around and asking, Lord, why is this happening to me? Especially in those times where you've been doing the best you can to walk with Jesus, to live in obedience to his scriptures, and suddenly, instead of things going well, all hell is breaking loose around you. And to make matters even worse, you look around and you go, well, how come they're having such success and such blessings over here? Even sometimes people who not only aren't following the Lord, but are mocking God and want absolutely nothing to do with him. Well, that's a situation that a guy named Asaph found himself in. He was a contemporary of King David of Old Testament fame. And it was during the time where David was running for his life, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense when God has said, you're my anointed king and I'm going to take care of you. And yet, if he didn't run for his life, he'd be dead. So, what's up with that? A natural question that you and I will ask to some degree at various times in our life. Some of us with major intensity like Asaph, and others of us not that same intensity, but we all come to this point. Lord, why me? And why not them? This doesn't make sense. Here's what Asaph wrote. We're reading his journal after the fact as God showed him the answer. Surely God is good to Israel, to those who were pure in heart. He's quoting what he'd always been told, that God would take care of him. But he says, as for me, my feet had almost slipped. I nearly lost my spiritual foothold, for I envied the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Here's how he felt life was working. They have no struggles. Their bodies are healthy and strong. They're free from common human burdens. They aren't plagued by human ills. Therefore, pride is their necklace. They clothe themselves in violence. From their callous hearts comes iniquity. Their evil imaginations have no limit. Man, they're getting away with murder. They scoff. They speak with malice. With arrogance, they threaten oppression. Their mouths lay claim to heaven, and their tongues take possession of the earth. They're just big talkers, and nothing ever happens. Therefore, their people turn to them, and they drink up waters in abundance. They say, how could God know? Does the Most High know anything? This is what the wicked are like. In his estimation, at that point, they're always free of care. They go on amassing wealth. And then he says those dangerous words. Surely in vain I have kept my heart pure. It's done me no good. I've washed my hands in innocence. All day long I've been afflicted, and every morning brings new punishments. He thought that, but he didn't act upon it. He goes on and says this, if I had spoken out like that, I would have betrayed your children. And when I tried to understand all of this, it troubled me deeply until I entered the sanctuary of God, and then I understood their final destiny. Surely you place them on slippery ground. You cast them down to ruin. How suddenly they're destroyed, completely swept away by terrors. They're like a dream when one awakes. When you arise, O Lord, you will despise them as fantasies. And he goes on and begins a praise. You see, he understood for the first time the big picture. And though nothing made sense at that day, and though everything seemed upside down on that day, he got a glimpse of eternity. That's what he meant when he said their destiny. And suddenly wouldn't change it. You know, I bet a lot of us have had people we looked up to who suddenly had their life fall apart, or maybe were exposed in the press or whatever it would be. And we suddenly found ourselves going, man, I not only no longer look up to that person, I no longer wish I had what they had. I'm incredibly thankful I'm not them. And that's what eternity has. If life seems unfair now, turn to the cross, because there is a promise that someday all things will be made right. And Jesus affirmed it with his resurrection. Your destiny is what matters, not your today.